everybody, Mr. Garrett here. I wanted to go over two quick examples regarding the CUDA handout. The first one was this one. It was number 13 from the Simplifying Rational Exponents Problems. When we look at this one, the thing that I want to make sure that we do is we go ahead and split up these numbers and variables so we can simplify a little bit easier. That'll help out just a little bit here and there. So the 2 over 4 is going to take care of itself. That's going to be 1/2, and that's nice to go ahead and do. We can make that 1/2 right now. And then when you look at the x to the negative 7/4 and x to the 4/3, I'm going to kind of start doing that over here a little bit, simply because I want to focus on what we do with those exponents. So our exponent rule says, well, let's take the exponents and subtract them. If we subtract them, we get this: x to the negative 7/4 minus 4/3. Well, we need a common denominator, and our common denominator is going to be 12. So that means I'm going to take that first fraction and multiply it by 3, giving me negative 21/12. And then I'm going to multiply this one here by 4, so that's going to give us 16/12. And if I take negative 21/12 minus 16/12, I get x to the negative 37/12. So going back to the original problem over here, I'm going to have 1 over 2x to the 37/12. And normally I'd say, okay, that's cool, let's stop. However, the directions on our handout said to simplify, and your answer should only contain positive exponents with no fractional exponents in the denominator. And you're like, oh man, that's a fraction in the denominator. So we got to do something to get rid of that. This is very similar to if I had something like 1 over the cube root of x to the 4th. Can't have a radical in the bottom. And so what I need to do is I need to do something to get rid of that cube root in the bottom. The way that we do that is we make a perfect cube on the bottom. And so I multiply the top and the bottom by the cube root of x squared. Why x squared? Because the bottom is now going to be the cube root of x to the 6th. Well, that's just x squared on the bottom. On the top, I still have the cube root of x squared. Okay, so by multiplying by 1 and picking what those two terms are, I can add the exponents, 4 and 2, to get 6, and then that simplifies. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply, back in our original problem, I'm going to multiply by something that's going to give me a integer exponent. So 37/12. I got to think, what's the next biggest number that goes and is divided by 12? Well, that would be 48. So if I put an 11 there, 11/12 and 37/12 is 48/12 or 4. So I'm going to multiply the top by x to the 11/12, the bottom by x to the 11/12, and on the overall problem here, I'm going to get x to the 11/12 on top. I'm going to get 2x to the 48/12, simply because I added this exponent and this exponent, and I got 48/12, which is just 4. So my final answer, x to the 11/12 over 2x to the 4th. It's kind of silly because we got an x on the top and x on the bottom, but at least we've done what they've asked us to, and we've gotten our simplified version. The other one that I want to look at was this one, and it can be kind of tricky, especially if you're not paying attention. But what we do here is I would go and take all my numbers, which in this case is going to be 3, 4 times 3. I take my x's, 1 over x to the negative 2/3, and I take my y's. So I got y to the 1/4 here, and then I got y to the 3/2 here, and y to the 1/2 here. Okay, this here is going to take care of itself because the 3's cancel. I'm left with 1/4. The 1 over x to the negative 2/3 means that x to the 2/3 goes on top because the negative on the bottom. And then here, how am I going to simplify this? Well, I can add these exponents because 3/2 and 1/2 is 4. And then I still have y to the 1/4 on top. So far, these are still taken care of. Now, the question is will this simplify? And if I simplify it, I could say y to the 1/4 minus 4, which would be, let's see, 1/4 minus 16/4, y to the negative 15/4. Okay, so my solution right now is x to the 2/3 on top, then 4y to the 15/4 on the bottom. What's the problem with that? This right here. So what do I have to do? I have to multiply by y to the 1/4 over y to the 1/4. Why 1/4? Because 1/4 and 15/4 is 16/4. That's going to make this 4. So my actual answer is x to the 2/3 over 4y to the 4th. And that is, and I got to add a y to the 1/4 up top here. Okay, that's our solution because now I have a integer down in the bottom here and not a fraction. So I hope that helped, and good luck.